See, the switch for me was a couple things happened in the process. God just directing again, but the switch for me was I have to decide to do it and not think about it.
Catch that.
I have to decide I'm gonna do a live event and not think about it. So, Mastermind Extreme Execution earlier this year, that was the moment that I literally just opened my mouth. I don't remember. Somebody asked a question. I was answering the question, and somehow I'm not taking no credit. God forced in my mouth some of these words, and I literally said, "And I'm gonna do a live event in December 2023." And
We all stood up because I was there.
Everybody lost it, and I'm like, "Wait, they're clapping for me."
Yep.
I'm going through this out of body experience. Like, wait, what's happening right now? What did I just say? Oh shoot! Like this gotta happen. But like I said, I committed to not thinking. It has to get done, and that was probably the first time in my life that I took, I want to say, full responsibility for something to happen. And that's why all the emotions happened yesterday, because it's like, yo, your decision,
Yeah.
you followed it all the way through. This was the big thing. Karl, you could trust yourself.
Big point. Big point.
Like, dude, I can look myself in the mirror and I can trust what I say. I don't have to like, I ain't sure no more. No, I ain't confident no more. No. I came up with a concept. God came up with a concept. I was obedient. And as everything, cliche, but I could list to you 10 things, and I literally told them in the conference, here's all the stuff that went wrong. Like, this went wrong, that went wrong. This is still going wrong. This is happening. This is what happened. But guess what? It's done.
So welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to this week's edition of the Getting the Win Show. I'm super honored to have this guest next to me, the one and only Bajan Sensation, Mr. Karl Wesley Phillips.
I'm the honored one, y'all.
Yes.
I'm honored.
Thank you so much for being here, man. So obviously our show focuses on beating procrastination and the importance of, just moving forward on what I've dubbed the luxury item. So in your case, like the Moving Past Potential workshop was kind of that luxury item for you. You launched a book. Congrats on that.
Thank you, man.
Absolutely. Talk about give your thoughts now that it's come to fruition. We've done the full 2 days of the workshop, and now we're here at the Airbnb. Kind of talk about how are you feeling now that the majority of it's done.
It's crazy. Like, I say it like this: every frustration that I've experienced does not compare to the amount of joy that I had in the last couple hours, the last couple of days. Like, I would go through the 10, whatever many years of frustration, I'd go through it again to get to the moment that we had yesterday.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's just incredibly powerful. Y'all weren't here, so y'all didn't see. And I'm just saying, like, I literally had an emotional, I don't want to call it, I want to use the right words. Words are important. I had an emotional reaction. I was going to say breakdown. It's not a breakdown, a reaction. Because when you think about having an idea, right? First of all, being concerned that, man, is that really who I am? Can I do that? Man, that might be kind of big. Like, and again, you guys know me, I'm around Dr. Eric Thomas. I'm around, Jamal, CJ, like Inky. These dudes are speakers, presenters. That's what they do. And I'm like, yo, I've always been the guy that supports.
Right.
Comfortable support. Like, I ain't the one that, like, man, I'm watching their spotlight. No. I want to be back here. But just understanding that I felt like God had something that he asked me to do, not my comfort zone, but then to still be able to go through despite whatever challenges came up and get the thing executed. Oh man, I'm ready to rinse and repeat.
Awesome. That's beautiful. So kind of talk about that process, because in your case, there was a bit of procrastination in that way. And he goes through it in detail in the book, guys. So if you want to check out Moving Past Potential, go
directly to the GCguide.com.
That's right.
That's where the book is.
That's where the book is. So yeah, make sure to order your copy. But this is kind of like 15 years in the making. So talk about the obstacles that you overcame in terms of the things that made you procrastinate on this. Like what made you kind of hold off on it?
So I'll try to shorten it because y'all don't get my whole life story in a couple of minutes now. But just growing up Caribbean, right? Grew up in Barbados, 2-parent home. The thing that I never understood was comparison. Right? I grew up
Mm-hmm.
with one older brother, and for my, for everything that I could think about, I don't never felt insecure or anything with that. But when I went to elementary school, my mom was a teacher at the school, and she actually asked one of her friends to get me in a year early. Right? She's like, I'm crying every time they leave home. My brother's 3 years old. So everybody's leaving the house, leaving my grandma, and I'm like, yo, my family, where they going? Like, come back. So I'm crying, and it started with me going to school 1 year earlier than I technically was supposed to. Right? And good thing or bad, who knows, right? we try
Subjective.
we try to judge, like we try to judge, this is good, this happened, this is good, this is bad, that happened. We don't know. So everybody's thinking this is a great thing, and it was.
Mm-hmm.
But what ended up happening, fast forward, and by the time I got to high school, now you think development of children, like there's a big difference in a year.
Big.
Right, so I got girls grow fast, right? So I got girls that are taller than me. I'm the short little kid, and everybody knows I'm a year younger.
Mm-hmm.
So I start internalizing, man, I'm not as good as everybody else. I'm a year younger, I'm smaller, I got these goofy glasses, right? So now what's happening to me internally is that now I'm not believing who I am.
Mm-hmm.
Now here's the flip side of it. I'm actually excelling in school. I'm doing well academically, I'm doing well in sports. All my relationships, friends are good. There's nothing wrong.
Mm-hmm.
But what we tell ourselves, our perception is reality. So I start to shift who I am and what's happening in my life based on my perception of things. I'm smaller. I'm choosing to focus on those things. I'm not as. So I fast forward. Just literally, I take that through life.
Wow.
So I get to the point, and I'm jumping fast forward. Now I
Yeah,
get to
yeah.
the point where I meet Eric, I meet CJ, and it's like, oh my gosh, he is an incredible speaker, right? And he wasn't that then, but he still had the gift. Obviously, he's preaching. We're going to schools at that time, elementary schools, and I'm like, whoa, this dude is doing this. Like, you think a speaker in elementary school, hey guys, the alphabet, da da da, good job, go home, work hard. You can do it. You
You
can
can
be
do
anything you want to be,
it.
right? Um, but no, you heard Eric speak. It's like, whoa, this dude. A lot of people don't know it, but CJ won the Mentor of the Year award for the state of Michigan. When I connected with them, and this is years ago, so it's a blur for me, but maybe within a couple of months of starting to connect with them, I'm going to the dinner, the banquet with CJ, getting this award from the governor of Michigan. And I'm like, whoa, these dudes they on some
They
real
play
stuff.
big. They play big.
And Carl comes in with, again, perspective. What y'all need help with? Hey,
Right.
however y'all need it. Look like y'all got a lot going on. Literally, that's how I approach Eric. I was like, dude, you look like you got a lot going on. If you need help, I'm here. I'm not working. I had just hearing that, you would think I'm just coming out of high school or something. I just graduated with my master's degree in biology,
Mm-hmm.
but I'm still thinking like I'm smaller than everybody else. That childhood thought it kept going. So I get to the point where I'm just like, hey, whatever you guys need, I'll do. And that's who I am as a person. But the mindset that I had with it was the error. Now I'm thinking I'm gonna do everything else because I'm not as good. They are great at what they do, so I'm gonna do all the little things to make sure they can continue to be great. And I'll be cool. I just want to feel valued or feel a part of something. So you understand that now as a framework, and
Mm-hmm.
think of me getting to the point where after a while, and let's just be transparent with you guys, after a while, like this, we talk about Dr. Eric Thomas, this company grows and grows and grows. And that same mindset is now taking on more. Please hear my language carefully. I'm not saying anybody's giving me more. I'm saying I'm taking on more. You get the
Important
difference,
distinction.
right? I want
Important
people to
distinction.
understand clearly. I'm taking on more because I don't value who I am. I don't feel like I'm good enough. So I want to do everything to show that I'm good
Mm-hmm.
enough. So now I'm real talk. I'm on the website helping with that. I'm helping with the app. I'm helping with all the Stripe accounts. I'm doing customer service. I'm learning to do accounting. I'm talking about anything we're doing merch. I'm helping with the merch. I'm calling UPS. I'm calling FedEx. I'm talking about whole businesses like developing, and I'm in every piece of it. And I'm using my phone number, my email. So every customer that has a problem is calling my phone, emailing my email. Come on, y'all. Like after a while, it gets to the point like, okay, I want to help,
Burnout.
but I'm burnt out. I'm frustrated. I'm tired. But because my mindset is like, I'm not good enough, I just keep doing it
Mm-hmm.
for years and years and years. And again, it wasn't to the point where, because I loved and believed in what we were doing so much, I could put up with this probably forever. I'm just being real. I could put up with it forever. because it was a bigger mission. But there's just something in Eric, CJ, all the guys are just literally like, dude, you don't see yourself how we see you. You don't see yourself like that. And I'm just like, I don't know what y'all see. I'm working hard. What else could I do? I come from a working class. Like, I'm doing everything I know how to do. And they're like, man, I can't wait. I remember them like, yo, I can't wait till you get it. I can't wait till you get it. When you get it, dude, the world is going to be incredible. I'm like, okay, this sounds great, but let's get back to work. I got people calling my phone. I got emails. So again, just going and going and going and going. And one of the big transition points was when Jamal came along. Jamal came on, and he brought on real estate to us, right?
Right.
And my initial thought, like, that's great. Here's another great guy. Like, that's cool. I don't know that has anything to do with me. And Maul literally had a couple conversations with me and just started just chipping away at that, whatever that was in there. You know what I mean? That iceberg in there, he's just chipping away at it. And he got me to believe that I could invest in real estate.
That.
So huge for me. Like, again, I just saw myself one way, and now he unlocked something that I never saw before. So I got one property, right? Then I got a second property, and I'm like, wait, I can do stuff.
You can do that.
I can actually do stuff.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So again, that was kind of like the seed that was planted. There's more. The way God works is like he won't let you rest.
True.
He won't let you rest. So what's happening is I'm doing all of this, but there's still there's an emptiness. There's some feeling of like there's more. There's something more. I'm trying to work it out by working harder.
Right.
You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like I'm like, man, I'm gonna sleep less. I'm gonna do this. But it's not being fulfilled. It's empty, and I come to this like a crash. Like, yo, and this is where the book starts. Literally, yo, I turned to my wife like, yo, I'm frustrated. I don't know what else to do.
I'm not happy.
I'm not happy. I'm working as hard as I can. Like I'm doing everything, and I'm just like, yo, nothing. And she is completely like, what in the world is going on? Because again, I tried my best to mask this. Nobody would know if you knew Karl. You don't know. Everything looks good. But I literally just broke down that night. I was like, yo, I'm just not happy. And she was like, what do you mean you're not happy? Like, she was like, I'll make you happy? I was like, yes, right? Of course.
Yeah.
But it's like, yo, there's something missing. And that kind of started a journey of, all right, you know what? Let me just start writing. I don't know. Let me start praying. God, I don't know. Help me.
Right.
So that led to the book. I could keep talking for hours. You got to stop me.
You're good. Because I've got my questions, but like, you know, this is a good lead in into, you know, the importance of what we're talking about here. So we're here at the Moving Past Potential workshop, which focuses on, you guys have heard me talk about the DISC assessment, or in the case of the ETA ecosystem, the flight assessment, which, you know, phrases it in that sort of airport structure. So Karl is what we would call ground screw. So am I, which is the S in the DISC assessment, which is that sort of steadiness. So ground screw are the ones that are doing all the work. You heard what he described. Like he was the octopus in the operation. Like he was doing 50 million things. And folks who are ground screw are versatile, and they're also very kind of reserved and quiet. Yeah. And the underpinning is loyalty. Like ground screw are among the most loyal of the four, you know, behavior types. And Karl was doing that, just kind of suffering in silence. Yeah. So you finally reached that breaking point where you admit you're not happy. You guys already know with like the 12-step program, you got to admit there's a problem, right?
First stage.
Got to admit there's a problem. You take that first step, you start journaling. Kind of talk about the importance of that, because I've also been, you know, talking with the audience in terms of ways to start laying out their vision, ways to be productive, to kind of get things out of their head and on the paper. Yeah. So kind of talk about the impact of the journaling.
So the biggest thing that I realized was, first of all, let me start here. I thought journaling was whack. I'm like, who got time to sit? And again, think of my lifestyle. My phone is ringing, there's text.
Super busy.
To sit here and just, I feel weird today. Today, I was like, man, ain't nobody got time for that, right? That was my real thought process as it related to journaling.
Yeah.
So I'm like, man, I'm never doing that. But again, I got to a point where I need an answer.
Right.
What journaling did for me was more than the writing aspect. It made me take time for Karl.
That's very important.
So that was the first thing, like, yo, just me, my thoughts, pen, paper, and there's scientific evidence to show that writing is actually therapeutic. It actually helps with like the connections, because now, watch, I got a biology degree, y'all. Bear with me.
Break it down.
So the multiple ways getting things into your brain. Like we got our senses, right?
Right.
Those are all the ways that information gets to our brain.
Mm-hmm.
So I can sit here and think about something and cool, but now if I can see, hear, touch, like now it
Mm-hmm.
enhances the experience. So that's what writing is doing. So look at it. I'm reading it,
Yep.
I'm thinking, I'm writing. You see what I'm saying? So there's at
Yep.
least 3 different things that are happening, all feeding this information into my brain. So it now has me in a spot where I'm focused. What's happening, Carl? Why are you feeling? And I'm challenging myself. What are you feeling? Why are you feeling it?
Mm-hmm.
The flesh way of saying it is like, are you jealous? Are you jealous that Eric and CJ are getting stuff? It's
Yeah.
like, no, that's
Mm-hmm.
like they're my brothers. Like I really am enjoying being a part of it, but it's just something missing. What is it, Carl? And I
Mm-hmm.
keep hearing Eric and them saying, "Wait till you see it, man. I can't wait till you see it." CJ would always say,
Wow.
"I can't wait till you see yourself how I see you," right? And I would just sit there and write, and then God works funny. He works real funny.
Mm-hmm.
1 or 2 people said something to me about a book, and
Mm-hmm.
again,
Mm-hmm.
man,
Starting to direct.
me, I ain't writing no book. Like who's gonna read Carl's book? I ain't got no story. I'm the dude behind the scenes. Everybody wants to
Right.
know about the other guys.
Right.
All along, we're doing the podcast, and
Right.
again, God is just so strategic with what He does. People would walk up to me all the time at the events, and it was weird for me. But they would say like, "Yo, you're my favorite on the podcast." And I'll be honest, at first I was like, I took it the wrong way at first. Like, yo, that's divisive. Don't say that to me. Like, I
Mm-hmm.
don't want to compare to nobody else. Like, we're a
Mm.
team. Like, that's how I am. Loyal
Loyal.
team. Don't
Yeah.
tell me like that. But I'm saying so. There was one event that I went to. I don't remember where it is. It's a blur. But I remember being like, okay, God, here we are. This is real. I'm transparent, y'all. I'm not playing games.
He's not.
I got to the event and it's like we're gonna do the same thing and all that, but I felt that like, yo, what am I even doing here? Like, I'm not happy. I'm not enjoying this. I'm like, God,
Wow.
there's thousands of people here, and I'm like, God, please, like, make this make sense for me because I just want to go to bed. Like, I'm tired. I don't want to do this anymore. Like, I don't feel fulfilled. Like, something is missing from this. I can't figure out what it is. Within, so this is upstairs. This is happening as I'm walking down to the event.
Wow.
This is mentally what's going on, and as I get down, literally no less than 10 people within like 5 minutes walked up to me. It's like, man, thank you so much for what you do.
Oh
Like,
wow.
man, when I hear you talk on a podcast, like I resonate with you. Like, it means so much to hear your voice. And I'm like, okay, that was 1%. Okay, here we go again. One.
Mm-hmm.
As soon as I turn, oh my God, Carl, thank you. Can I get a photo with you? And I was like, sure, yeah. I can smile and fake it. Man, thank you so much. As soon as I leave there and turn, and again, I'm still in my funk, if you want to
Yeah.
call it that. Like,
Yeah.
all right, God, just give me a sign. Give me something. Like, help me. Another person. Oh my God, Carl, thank you so much for what you do. I love you on the podcast.
Like
It
what
was
is
like at
happening?
least
Yeah.
10 people, like back to back to back. And my dumb butt was like, man, they keep bothering me. God, I just want to hear from you. Give me a sign.
He's like, I sent you 10 people.
Jamal jokes with me all the time. Jamal says, he's like, dude, you're that person that you got shipwrecked in the middle of the ocean and you prayed to God for somebody to help you. And the guy comes by in a jet ski. He's like, yo, you good? You need help? And he's like, no, I prayed to God. He gonna send somebody for me. And the guy's like, all right. He leaves. And he just builds the analogy. I'm
Yeah.
not, but he's like, yo, all these things are coming and showing you, and you're still just looking for God Himself to come down. I don't know what you're looking for,
Right.
but like He gave me 10 different signs with a matter of seconds. And it was after the fact that I was like, what just happened?
Mm-hmm.
Like, and again, God probably just took my thoughts because you too dumb, Carl. You're not getting this. Let me just help. Like, ugh. Do you just see what happened? And I was like, yo, that was a lot of people.
Mm-hmm.
So again, just planting seeds. And I told you somebody said a book. I'm like, you know what, Carl? Maybe you should do something different. Because what you're doing isn't working. Like, not saying that you leave your responsibilities, but like, what can you do to like just try to step outside of that comfort zone a bit? So I'm like, well, let me maybe write a book. Like, I'll just write a bunch of stuff and we'll see if a book happens. I'm not committing to it.
Right.
So I started writing, and that process became so therapeutic. And I'm like, oh, wait a minute. And stories would come back to me because the thing for
Mm-hmm.
me is I was like, yo, I have to go back to childhood. This isn't now, Carl.
Right.
And that's the stuff that I told you before, me going through school and all that, being younger, that unfolded in that process. Because
Right.
I didn't know that. I was like, yo, what's happening? Why am I feeling this way? And all that started to unfold as I wrote. And I was like, huh. And again, we're continuing. So more and more events, people would come and come and come. And then I remember one event, and one dude said to me, like, dude, he walked up. I was talking to Danita, one of our church members. She was at the event, and she was like, yo, Carl, something. So she's pouring into me, like, man, you so da da da. And I was like, I know there's something there. I just don't know what's next. Like, I need God within minutes. Her and I are walking, and this dude walks up to us, and is like, yo, man, thank you for everything you do. You like, what you gonna do next? Like, man, you ever thought about a book or just something? I'm talking like clear as day. She looked at me and just started laughing. I was like, all right,
Like,
God,
okay,
it's a book.
okay.
Back in my mind, who's gonna read Carl's story? Like, nobody wants to see this. But I'm just being obedient, going through the process. Wrote the book, and I'll fast forward. But when I wrote the book, the first weekend that I put the book out, two people literally, one emailed, one called and said, I feel like I'm reading my autobiography. And that was like a big trigger for me, because the biggest thing was like, who wants to hear Carl's story? That was the thing that I fought with for so long.
Yep.
And now, like, again, immediately God is like, boom, I needed what you have. I needed what you have. And as it starts unfold, 100 books sold, 200 books sold. Oh my gosh, thank you. And I thought it was just for the high S, for the GC. I got pilots walking up to me, high D's walking up to me, and they're like, oh my gosh, dude, your book has helped me so much. And I was like, how? And they were like, yo, number one, I didn't see things the way that you see it.
Exactly.
Thank you for opening my mind. A lot of them, I'm married to a
Right,
high ass.
right.
Oh my gosh, you helped me understand something that my wife has been saying. My husband is, thank you so much. And I'm like,
right? Like, I did that?
so, and again, God, I'm not taking no credit. God just wouldn't let me get comfortable. Like, he kept prodding, like, okay, the book was cool, but I need you to understand that there, once the book comes, that's now an opportunity that opens other opportunities.
Yes.
So if people need the information you have in a book, I got Ray, I got Francisco, a couple of people that now started dropping, man, a live event would be. And I'm like, I know y'all lost y'all mind. That is not me. A book is still introverted. I could write the book here, sell it, cool. I'm not getting in front of nobody's stage and talking to people. That's not what we do. Like, we are behind the scenes. You know what I'm saying? Like, I love behind the scenes. And it's just like, Eric keeps saying it, but evil people don't have no problem putting all their evil out.
True. That's a very good
You
point.
just watch the news or look around on social media. It's just all kind of crazy stuff happening. They're kidnapping people. They're bombing people. Like, stuff happening. And I'm talking about, it's all over the place. But you got something that can help people, and you think that you should just kind of keep it. I just felt convicted. I was like, oh, this feels like something that I have to do. And I'll tell you, the switch for me was, a couple things happened in the process. God just directing again. But the switch for me was, I have to decide to do it and not think about it.
Catch that.
I have to decide I'm going to do a live event and not think about it. So, Mastermind Extreme Execution earlier this year, that was the moment that I literally just opened my mouth. I don't remember. Somebody asked a question. I was answering the question, and somehow I'm not taking no credit. God forced in my mouth some of these words, and I literally said, and I'm going to do a live event in December 2023. And
we all stood up because I was there.
Everybody lost it. And I'm like, wait, they're clapping for me.
Yep.
I'm going through this out-of-body experience like, wait, what's happening right now? What did I just say? Oh, shoot. Like, this got to happen. But like I said, I committed to not thinking. It has to get done. And that was probably the first time in my life that I took, I want to say, full responsibility for something to happen. And that's why all the emotions happened yesterday, because it's like, yo, your decision, you followed it all the way through. This was the big thing. Carl, you could trust yourself.
Big point. Big point.
Like, dude, I can look myself in the mirror and I can trust what I say. I don't have to, like, I ain't sure no more. No, I ain't confident no more. No. I came up with a concept. God came up with a concept. I was obedient. And as everything, cliche, but I could list to you 10 things. And I literally told them in the conference, here's all the stuff that went wrong. Like, this went wrong, that went wrong. This is still going wrong. This is happening. This is what happened. But guess what? It's done. So, and I wish we need time, because I wish I could show y'all now I guess the biggest impact. I'm jumping ahead. If you had other
No,
questions,
go ahead.
but the biggest impact I would say is now watching my family.
Yes.
How my one decision that I committed to obeying what God was asking me to do. Now my daughter is the person that's mailing out all the books, and when I say mailing the books, I mean literally logging into. I'm using ShipStation as the platform, printing the labels, checking the addresses, folding the boxes. All I do is sign the books and put a pile there. And next morning, she's doing that. Put them out. USPS come grab them.
Yep.
Books are shipped. My daughter is doing that. My daughter single-handedly shipped probably over 600 books. My son, he's a little more into play mode. He's a typical boy. He's helped too. Not as much as my daughters. I don't want to leave him out. But I'm seeing my kids are now involved in something because of a decision that I made. When we decided to do the event, my wife is the person calling hotels. She's fully on board. And Miles Monroe said something that blew my mind. He said, "Do you think that your wife actually wants to make another man rich?"
Ooh.
She's like, "You really think that she wants to go work for somebody else and make them and their family name better than yours?" The
Good
challenge
question.
is, and I'm speaking to males because I'm male. My females, please don't,
You good.
But as a male, your responsibility is to provide that vision for your family. They're trusting you. Your kids didn't ask to be here. Your wife trusted that you were the one. So you got to make decisions that set the vision for your family. And for the first time in my life, I feel like I'm not just the protector and the provider, but now I'm a visionary for my family. Again, mall. If y'all rock with us, y'all know this is mall. So again,
Yep.
environment is everything, guys.
Everything.
So I'm literally now like, yo, there's a vision that God gave me that we executed, and I could see my wife and I are. She's in all the meetings with me.
Right.
We're planning together. This is the ground screw dream. Collaboration with
Collaboration.
somebody I care about. Oh my gosh, this is heaven. So
Yeah.
we're sitting together, we're planning, we're doing stuff. Now, as I'm here talking to you, she's organizing the food and all that. Like, she's called all the people, she's helped the entire process. So I'm to the point now where it's like, yo, we got to keep doing this.
Right.
We got it. My daughter, the Airbnb that we're in, all of us walked and it was like,
This place is huge, y'all.
it's incredible. It's a beautiful place. My daughter is who found it. My wife and I are looking because I don't know what's happening, but a lot of Airbnbs are like, nope, we're not allowing like guests and events kind of thing to happen. I don't know if people are partying and tearing stuff up.
Probably.
So we're going through all these, no guests, no events, no guests, no events. And my daughter, we were like, you know what, we'll look tomorrow. It was like late one night. My daughter was like, yo, I think I just found one. And I'm trying to be that good dad and not be like, whatever, girl. I was like, here we go. Let me look at it. I'm being honest. Let me look at it. I'm sure it says somebody events. And she's like, no, it doesn't. And we started going through the pictures and she's like, oh no, that's my room.
Okay. She done claimed it.
It's the room she's sleeping in here. She's like, oh, that's my room. It's like Aladdin and all painted, and you got Aladdin and Jasmine up there. She's like, that's my room. And she started mapping out the plan. And I'm like, yo, you've taught her how to have a vision and execute on it. So I'm just saying the doors that have opened, and I'm starting micro, y'all. Like, I'm showing you how it starts from inside of Karl to my family. And now you're talking about, I don't know, 50 something people here at the event, all walking away with a feeling of empowerment and transformation.
Yeah.
How do we rinse and repeat this? That's my only question. Right. How do I rinse, repeat, and enlarge?
Yes.
That's where it is now. So that's the process.
Awesome. So a couple key things there, guys, in case you didn't quite catch everything, because he dropped a lot of nuggets in that story. But the most pressing one, obviously, is the importance of having vision.
Yeah.
Because then that fuels your decision making going forward. And it makes you want to make decisions. Like, once you come up with something that's like, oh, I want to do that, or like, I want to reach for that. So having that vision is very important. The other point you made was making the decision and not thinking about it. If you're the type that's like us, that you might overthink, you might think yourself out of a thing. You know what I mean? Especially if it's something that you feel or I should say that that God is pushing you to do. And 9 times out of 10, it's something God is pushing you to do because it feels uncomfortable.
It feels terrible.
It feels uncomfortable. Yep. You're like, really? Are you serious? And then you're like moved to do like 4 or 5 different confirmations. Was it Gersh that said it yesterday? Somebody, I think it was Brandon. He was quoting ET, and ET said, "Signs are for the weak. Make a decision."
Mm.
And believe it or not, that's not just Dr. Eric Thomas talking. Technically, Jesus does say that in the Word.
Oh,
He said, "A wicked and perverse generation looks for a sign."
signs. That's it.
So don't look for signs. Make a decision. Make a decision. So there's having the vision, making the decision, and not thinking about it, and then also the importance of the impact that your decision makes.
Mm.
Carl was saying he made the decision, and then his family
Yep.
was able to join in.
Yep.
And when we say family, we mean literally, because we're here in the Airbnb, and it's not just his immediate family, his wife and his kids, but also his parents.
Parents are here.
His parents are here
My
too.
wife's mom is here
Mm-hmm.
from Barbados. She's just not here because her brother lives in Orlando, so she went to visit with him. But
Mm-hmm.
I'm saying
They're all here. They're all here. So your decision to follow the vision that God has given you is something that he can also use to unify your family, especially if you're in a leadership role within that family. So that's another positive consequence as well. So kind of talk about, like, now that this is your cause, because I remember you declared that on the podcast, and I was so proud to hear you say that. Like, that's my cause, like
yeah.
helping people move past their potential and like go forward towards their vision. How were you able to figure out what to now cut out?
Mm.
Because at the time you were still doing the octopus thing. So how were you able to kind of reduce the amount of things you're doing?
So, and I'll be honest, I'm still in the process of that.
Mm-hmm.
Just to be honest with you, I'm still Carl, the same person. I just have something else that became bigger than everything else, right?
Mm-hmm.
So what I've learned to do now is, and it's not new, guys. This is the same stuff CJ, Eric, Jamal, everybody's been telling me for years. Dude, you don't have to do everything. As a matter of fact,
Mm-hmm.
Eric used to say to me, "Do you understand that there'll be people that just?" I'll tell you two things. Eric said there are people that want to help just to be around.
Right.
Because of the way I think, I don't want anybody to help unless I can take care of them. Like I want to make sure you're compensated. Like I
Mm-hmm.
want to, you gotta have money, something. Like I don't want you to do anything for me because I don't want nobody to treat me like that.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So I'm putting my whole perspective on everybody else. So I'm learning to answer your question directly. I'm learning to delegate.
Mm-hmm.
Anthony Flynn was the other person that told me, like, dude, do you understand that people just want to be in your presence? And I was like, no, I don't understand that. Like, why? But
Yeah.
this event is proving that. So delegation, um, just really understanding that I should only do the things that Carl can do.
Mm-hmm.
So even now, as I'm speaking to you, like they were teasing me earlier, I forgot to put a thumbnail up, and they were like, "You're doing thumbnails," and I was like, "Well, I'm only doing it on the weekend because the group that I have working for me, they're not working this weekend."
Mm-hmm.
So I got, but little like I got. CJ said to me, Carl, if I ever hear this was recently, so I'm just telling you, it's a process for me. I'm still
Wow.
trying to get rid of some stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But CJ said, "You're still doing slides for people." He's like PowerPoint stuff. Like what?
Like,
We were just having
why?
a conversation. He's like, "Yo, what's some?" He asked kind of that question, like, "Yo, what's some of the things that you probably shouldn't be doing?" I was like, "Man, I still do some slides for people, and I know that I probably like you can outsource that."
Mm-hmm.
He said to me, "If I ever find out that you do slides again," he's like, "I'm gonna fly to Michigan and beat you." I was like,
Jeez.
"Dude," but he
Dang.
was just being honest. Like, I'm gonna come up there, like, don't ever do that again. So all of it is still part of a mindset shift. Like, Carl, get help.
Yes.
The thing that I was trapped in before is that my value was tied in me being able to help people.
Mm-hmm.
And that's,
Mm-hmm.
again, that's bad thinking, right? No, you're valuable because God put you here.
Right.
Point blank period. You don't need nothing else. You're a child of God. That's the
That's
value,
it.
right? But I was looking for, and I don't even know if it was affirmation. I just wanted to feel a part of something so bad. And so I'm taking on more. So delegation is probably the number one biggest thing that I'm doing.
Mm-hmm.
Then number two is a team. And it's still delegation, but in a different sense. Like I'm delegating some of the tasks that Carl does, like as it relates to ETA or anything else. But now, like to plan this event, it
Mm-hmm.
was a team and a strategic team. I
Right.
used Ray, a very high pilot. For those of you that don't understand, very direct, matter of fact. Here's what we're doing. I don't care how you feel.
Mm-hmm.
And I have literally allowed him to be in that position of like, man, I know my weakness is overthinking.
Mm-hmm.
So anytime I think that I'm about to overthink, I call Ray.
Mm-hmm.
Hey Ray, this is how I feel. This is you feel? No. Okay.
That's
All
the
right.
answer.
And he was like figuring it out. I'm super transparent. When I thought about the pricing of the event,
Mm-hmm.
I'm thinking, man, still Carl, nobody. This not. Ray was like, oh no, it's got to be he said a minimum of $1,000. He's like, and I'm saying minimum because I know you. He's like, I think it should be more than that. And I'm like, I'm gonna charge somebody $1,000. But watch this, overthinking. But they still gotta get a plane ticket. They still gotta get down here. They still gotta. We
Mm-hmm.
can't charge that much.
Yeah, you
He's like,
can.
well, are you trying to make any money, break even, lose money? Like, what's your goal here? And I was like, well, I would like it to benefit my family. Like, I don't want to just do it and lose money.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, well, then it has to be a minimum of 1,000. I was like, okay. Uncomfortable the whole time.
Mm-hmm.
I'm talking about going through the process. But again, what I'm saying is I allowed a team to come in, and it's not only Carl's perspective no more.
Right.
So now I have other people. Ben is, when I tell you, Ben is the coach of coaches.
Man.
Like, you spend time with Ben, I'm telling you, he's gonna wreck your life and build it back.
He asks a lot of questions, like a lot of detailed questions.
So what that did for me is, I don't have to be a coach.
Mm-hmm.
You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So now I got somebody that can help with the decisions.
Yep.
I got somebody that knows going to help coach people.
Yep.
Then I got Kyle. I got Brandon. I was like, yo, who could host the event and bring Brandon? I don't have to host it. So now it's a matter of, Carl, all you have to do is be yourself.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have to become nothing else, try to do nothing else. Like, you just got to stay in this lane and do that. And I think that was the magic piece that made everything fall into place. When I got on stage, there was no fear, no anxiety, because all I had to do was be my authentic self.
Yep.
I took off my shoes at one point. Like, this is
that was
I learned
hilarious.
that from Eric. I did learn that from Eric. But I was like, no, honestly, I'm wearing these Jordans and now I'm comfortable walking around here. Let me just take this off.
Take them off.
And I'm comfortable when I'm talking. I'm just... And I think God helped me to shift the perspective now and understand that my story does help people.
Yes.
So that's what I need to focus on. What elements of my story do you need to hear? Because I know you think like me, you're going through some of the same struggles. Like I said, Ben can coach, somebody else can host, somebody else can do that, somebody else can do that. My job is to lock in and show you this is the process that I use to get past it. I'm not free.
Right.
This is the process that I'm using to Harriet Tubman. I found a way to get us out of here.
Mm-hmm.
So come on, y'all.
Come.
So she's further ahead than me. She knew the path. Like, I'm forging the path as I go. But as I find some success, hey, y'all, come on.
Mm-hmm.
That's my job. Hey, y'all, come on. I found a spot that we can chill here and figure out something else, and then we can move. So the biggest thing, man, is just right team and being able to delegate a lot of those responsibilities.
Absolutely. And that ties into the next point I was going to make, is the importance of the people around you. Not only a team operationally speaking, but having the right people to call out. And I mentioned this on the last episode. I interviewed Rai, and we were talking about having people in your life who disrupt your narrative.
Yeah.
Carl is fortunate to have, Dr. Eric Thomas, CJ, Jamal, whole lot of disruptors who will hear the automatic narrative that like leaks out when you're talking, and they'll be like, wait, no, I don't recognize that. Yep. That is not true. And that can hold you accountable. They were able to hold Carl accountable. You heard what CJ said. By the way, CJ is in Atlanta, okay? Like, he's in Georgia, and said, I will fly up to Michigan if I ever hear you talking about slides again, doing slides for people again. So that's very important. In terms of the process of going forward, because I know everybody, once we got to the workshop, was like, okay, what's next? Oh. And then it was hilarious. Yesterday, he was like, at the beginning of the day, like 30 minutes, we came up with a new business model in 30 minutes. So just talk about that process in terms of, was it simply you asking yourself that and like kind of doing a journaling thing, or was it that collective conversation where you guys just kind of sounded ideas off of each other and was like, okay, this could be a thing?
So I think, let's start here. The biggest thing is to understand that this is not a stopping place.
Mm-hmm.
The book gave me some measure of clarity and success. Now, as we're at the event, you're seeing another level unlocked. So it's like a door opened up other doors, just opened up other doors. So my concept is, where are the other doors?
Nice.
I'm now looking for other doors. Like the shift is happening. Like, oh,
Yeah.
there are more doors. So in order to do that though, like what's the next step, Carl? Now, so that's the Carl perspective. Now I'm looking at the audience. Like they're here. They're getting help. But I know this well. Human nature is real tough to fight.
Yeah.
When you're in the environment, y'all go to church. You go to church if you don't go to church. But you go to church and the praise team is singing and you're emotional. Oh, man, God, yes, yes. And you go back home and turn the game on and it's just like that never happened.
Yep.
So I understand that in the environment we're strong, but when we leave here and go back to our homes and the kids and life and the business and the bills and the credit card and a lot of this energy that we have,
it dies quick.
Gone. So for me, it's like, okay, what else can we do, right? We already have a coaching program. We haven't pushed it like that because, again, just building slowly, building, let it be organic. I'm not trying to rush and get 2,000 people and I don't know how to serve them properly.
Right.
So the coaching community we have might be 30 people, somewhere in that range, and we're growing as they come in one by one, one by one. So I'm like, that's not it. And the other thing is half the audience there was already in the coaching. So that didn't make sense as the next step to tell everybody, right? It's like, no, we have to have these meetings in some kind of capacity more often. That's why you go to church every week. Like hint, hint, hint. Like some of y'all you don't go to church for a month or two, or we do the what was the term Brandon said? The
Creasters.
Christmas and Easter.
That's
right.
it.
It's a long time between there for life to life. So my thought process, we have to do something else relatively soon. So it started as I know we have to do something else to open doors.
Yep.
I know people need something else. Okay, team, what are we doing? Then it goes to, all right, what are we doing? And again, I got people that are, because we are in this community, we're exposed to different options. So boom, we could do this. We could do this. Brandon came up with like a whole year's program in like, I'm talking about like 2 minutes.
Wow.
He's like, yo, we could do this. We could do it. I mapped out a whole year. We could charge 20 grand. I was like, I'm not comfortable going there yet. I'm just being honest. It's like, I'm not saying we can't do it. I'm just like, my honest answer to them was, I don't feel like this audience is ready for that step yet. Let's go a step before that and provide something that they can move on. Let's make it gradual for them, right? So in that matter of a couple minutes, we're like, you know what? We just need to do another event that's more intimate, though, because we got this session and there's 50 people here. You're going to share stuff. Everybody was incredibly transparent, right? That was the atmosphere that we intended. It worked. But I still didn't deal with everybody's individual challenges. Like there's some, it's not a one size fits all. Think different, think better. No. There's some people with real issues, real scars. And I'm not a counselor or psychologist, but I do believe it all starts with what we think.
Right.
So if we can just address that and start addressing the information that we're feeding ourselves, we could do that. But we got to get more intimate. So we just literally sat there. And when I tell you, my mind was blown, and I'll explain this to you. We had the conversation. All right, so what we'll do is we'll plan another mastermind for just a smaller group of people that are ready for it.
Right.
All right. Other people, the community is there. You can join. You can still keep the interaction. But there's some others that want to go deeper and really uncover this stuff. Like, help me fix my thoughts. Let's create that opportunity. Team delegation, keywords. We had that discussion. I sent one text message to Tyrus. I was like, Tyrus.
Systems.
Tyrus, dude, we're at the event. We just came up with an idea. Can you fix the website? He responded, sure, what you need? I was like, Brandon, this is happening in the event space.
Real time.
Real time happening after lunch.
Yeah.
From start to finish, this was an hour.
Wow.
Secret to you, I haven't seen the website yet.
It's updated. I can tell you that.
I haven't gone, but I'm just showing you the power not understanding team. And I told them yesterday, what's blowing my mind is the fact that I'm usually on the other side of this. I'm the person that, hey, Carl, we need a QR code, a stripe, something. And I'm like, bet.
Yep.
Boom. And I get a high off of that.
Yep.
But here I'm sitting back like, what just happened? Like, it was shocking for me. Like, I was in shock. I was like, what just happened? Call Tyrus. Tyrus had a conversation with Brandon. Brandon gave him the details. Site was fixed. Tyrus sent us a QR code. All I did was took the QR code and just put it on the screen.
Yeah.
I'd never seen it. I don't know what the offer looks like. Right now, as I'm talking to you, I still haven't seen it. I don't know what the page looked like. We just made a decision, put it up there. And I think probably half the people, because we did 15, I think probably 5 or 6 people bought already. I'm sitting there like, whoa. Whoa.
The power of a team.
Whoa, this is dangerous.
Hmm.
So I literally told them what we need to do next is we need to go somewhere for a day or two without any distractions and
Hmm.
really plan where this could go. Because what I'm seeing, the value, it's like the value we can, and God is just so deep. Like he gave it, like the value we can provide
Hmm.
plus the need of the people. It's a perfect match.
Yep.
So let's figure out the way to meet their need in a way that can compensate us. And now it's mutual. I'm not
Right.
gouging nobody. I'm trying to make sure you get help. But at the same time, we do have expenses. We do have to travel. We do want to put on, things that people can really feel, change their mindset in different environments. And it costs. It's real.
It does.
So we got to make sure that we can meet those two things. But when I tell you, like the speed of execution I experienced firsthand yesterday, yeah.
Yeah. By the time they made the offer at the end of the workshop, y'all, the QR code was up on the screen because Carl put it up there. I clicked on that joint. Website was fully updated already. Had all the details of had the date and everything. Everything was there, which is why you had 5 or 6 people already like,
Right there.
bet
Yeah.
I'm going.
So that's what's next. Mastermind. What was the day?
Mastermind.
April 19th? Something
I
like that,
think
I
so.
think was the
Yeah.
day. Yep.
Awesome.
So
Awesome.
yeah.
And then just to provide you guys with a little background in terms of the coaching call, like this isn't something that's new. Like the coaching call has been around
Yeah.
for about 5 years now. So pre and post COVID, like the
Yeah.
call has been going strong.
Yeah.
So talk about the real quick as we wrap up here, the advancement or evolution that you've seen in the folks that have been on that
Oh.
call. You know what I mean? Like in terms of the pouring into them,
Mm.
what they've been able to pour back to you, and how that fuels you going forward.
That I promise you that might bring me to tears. I'll never forget Michael Wandu.
Hmm.
Mike joined the community. So let me start. I was freaking out. Eric just said, like, yo, you're a high ass. You should start a community. This is before the flight assessment. So you're a high ass. Like, yo, dude, that's your life. Just talk to people about it. You should start a call. I'm like,
Like what?
me? Lead in front of people? No. He was like, no, seriously, I think you should. And I did. Just being obedient, doing it despite the fear.
Hmm.
That's literally a part of the reason that all of this has happened, because I just took that step, made that decision, and did it without the fear.
Hmm.
I got on those first calls, and when I tell you terrified,
Hmm.
I got about 40 questions. I'm like, okay, if nobody's talking, I'm gonna ask this, and then I'm gonna have to tell a story, and I'm mapping it all out. And I remember just being panicked, and I got on the call, and the first thing I realized was like, oh my gosh, they're just like me. And
Hmm.
they said it, oh my gosh, you're just like us. I'm like, really? So it kind of took some of the pressure off of me. Like, you don't have to come with a new thing. Like, just be authentic with who you are. So I just started from week to week sharing what the thing I learned, though. You gotta experience life in order to share something.
Right.
So from week to week, I'm literally looking at my experiences differently.
Hmm.
So I'm sharing. So I'm telling you about Mike. Mike came onto this call, and I'm talking about Mike wouldn't talk, like hardly ever. And I'm, again, as the host, I'm like, I need interaction. Somebody say something. So I'm pulling. All right. We didn't hear from Mike yet. Yeah, it's good. Mike, you want to say anything else? We fast forward a couple months, and Mike is. Oh man, Mike is now. His goal is to run a marathon in every continent. I believe he's done 3 already.
Wow.
He's climbed Mount Kilimanjaro.
Mm.
If you talk to this person now, I'm looking at him like, dude, I don't recognize you. Like
Awesome.
when I tell you complete transformation, Kamish, he's here. Kamish, same thing, came onto the group, just kind of like, yo, I'm not good enough for nothing. I'm not, just super, like, just discouraged. And Kamish just released his first book.
Yep.
He is, I'm talking about like the energy of this place. Like he's talking, engaging, just like I could see him come back to life. We've had intimate conversations where there were people in his life that it was like he admired so much. He supported them, and now they're not
Hmm.
really reciprocating, and it was hard for him to really see it. He's just like, man, I'm over it. Like, it's
Yep.
time for me to build me. So I'm watching people's life transform, and it's just like, whoa, like I got a part of this. So now with the coaching calls, Ben leads one of them,
Hmm.
Kyle leads the second one,
Hmm.
and I jump on both of them. Again, I feel like this is my baby. But I'm sitting back and I don't have to do the coaching call anymore. I'm watching people with Ben work, and Ben grilled them, but I'm watching. I won't say his name, but we've had people on there, multiple people with like severe, like physical, sexual abuse. And again, we're not counselors.
Right.
And they're seeing therapists. Like we're encouraging that. Like there are professionals that are trained to do that. But we're also telling you that that doesn't define who you are.
Mm-hmm.
That's something that happened a moment.
Mm-hmm.
So like I'm watching people like literally, and as they share, and again, I'm super transparent. Ben is super transparent. Kyle is, because we want to create that atmosphere, because we understand that the more you can talk it out,
Yeah.
the more you can get it off of you.
Correct.
What's happening is we're carrying all these burdens, and you'll remember the first part of the event. I literally had
Big
like
old
4
backpack.
backpacks on me. Like, yo, this is what we're doing.
Mm-hmm.
We're walking around with burdens from the time we were 3 years old. No wonder life is tiresome and frustrating, and you feel like you're out of breath and everything. That's why, because you're walking with us. So the first thing we do is just, hey, as you're comfortable, we encourage it, but as you're comfortable, what happened?
Mm-hmm.
Like, let's get to the root of it. And people start sharing, and Melissa, I watch people's body language just change as they're saying the words.
Mm-hmm.
Like, one guy, he just, like, he said it and he just sat there and was smiling. I was like, dude, do you see yourself right now? He's like, huh? I was like, dude, do you see yourself? He's like, no, what happened? I was like, everybody else, just describe to him what you're saying. They're like, dude, like, you could see the weight come off of you.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just like, yo, that environment. So that's what our coaching is. I'm watching people get tangible transformation weekly.
Awesome. So once again, y'all, the gcguide.com for the book. They can join the community through that website as well, right?
So
Absolutely.
Once you buy the book, and I just set it up really easy. Once you buy the book, you also get an ebook and audiobook.
Yes.
The audiobook is in the community.
Okay.
So once you follow the steps that you'll get with that confirmation email, you'll actually become a part of the community, get in there, and yeah.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Oh, pleasure.
Pleasure, man.
Pleasure.
Awesome. Congratulations again, ladies and gentlemen. Karl Wesley Phillips, aka the Bajan Sensation. You guys can catch him every single week on the Secret to Success podcast. That's Thursdays. Yes. And then on Mondays, they're also on Patreon. So jump on the Patreon. Let them know where to find you guys on Patreon.
Yep. S2S Podcast 120. All right. And if you just go to Patreon, look up Secret to Success, you'll find it. But we're dropping you're getting to see us unfiltered. In the Patreon. Yep. So, yeah.
Absolutely. So shout out to you again. Take care. Thank you so much for your time.
All right. Thank you.
Appreciate you. And it is the holiday season, guys. So be sure to check out the merch shop. If you are curious about the shirt, you want one for yourself. That way you'll see this shirt. You'll see a bunch of other accessories as well. We've got hoodies. We've got sweats. We've got all the gifts that you could possibly want to buy for yourself and for your folks to get the message out about being as productive as possible and staying true to yourself. Because the mission of this show is to turn procrastinators into producers. That's why I always task you guys to hashtag get on that. Make sure you're on top of your luxury item. And that way you can rock the gear to remind the world that you are all about that luxury item. You are all about getting things done, getting the goals instead of simply setting them.